Call to order the Town Council March 10th, 2026 regular meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. If you could please stand for pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight we have two proclamations. I will read the first one for Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and then I would invite the chairperson of the Commission on People with Disabilities, Susan Lewis-Hughes, to come up, and I'll present her with the framed proclamation. So whereas this is the 39th year the United States has recognized and celebrated March as National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and whereas on February 26, 1987, President Ronald Reagan officially declared Proclamation 5613, making March National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. The proclamation called for people to provide understanding, encouragement, and opportunities to help persons with disabilities to lead productive and fulfilling lives. And whereas everyone wants and deserves to enjoy life, feel productive and secure. But in March, we take extra steps to raise awareness about the supports and rights of the people with developmental disabilities and to celebrate their contributions to our community and society as a whole. And whereas the Tolland Commission on People with Disabilities includes Chairperson Susan Lewis-Hughes, Aaron Weintraub, Robert Dykert, Randa Utter, Ron Friedman, and Robin Lader, the Commission aims to provide information, education, and advocacy to promote awareness and inclusion of citizens with disabilities in Tolland. Now, therefore, I, Chris Moran, Chair of the Tolland Town Council, on behalf of the Town Council and community at large, recognize March as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month and embrace the contributions of all residents who serve and those who live with developmental disabilities. Dated at Tolland, Connecticut, this 10th day of March, 2026. I'll just come up behind. Would you mind? Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. A little picture.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. So our commission has been in place now since 2020. So as Chris mentioned, our goals are to provide information, education, and advocacy for the entire community and promote our inclusive and accessible talent. From the very first, we recognized that our biggest challenge was probably going to be asking people to change the way they think about people with disabilities, going from a perspective of, you know, they can go over there, they already have accessible places over there, to more of a perspective of let's bring everyone together so everyone can participate equally. My favorite saying is when you make something accessible for a person with a disability, you make it accessible for everyone. And so while we will continue to strive every day and all year long for everyone with disabilities, we wanted, as a commission, on behalf of my commission, I want to make sure we thank the town council, town staff, town manager, and the town for all your support, and also recognizing March as Disabilities Awareness Month. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. We also have a second proclamation tonight for Women's History Month. I'll read that into the record as well. Whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our town, state, and nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social roles in every sphere of life of the town, state, and nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas women have played a unique role throughout the history of the town, state, and nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force. And whereas women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our town, state, and nation. And whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change and movement. And whereas women have served our country courageously in the military, and whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. And whereas, despite these contributions, the role of women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Now, therefore, I, Chris Moran, Chair of the Tolland Town Council, on behalf of the Town Council and community at large, am proud to honor and celebrate the contributions of women and do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Women's History Month, dated at Tolland, Connecticut, this 10th day of March 2026. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to agenda item 5, which is public relations, communications, and public participation on any subject within the jurisdiction of the council. This is with a 3-minute time limit. So I'll start in the room. If you'd like to speak, please just come up to the table and state your name and address. Sure.
Again, 62 Grafton Drive. I have heard some rumblings that I know we're supposed to be having a meeting about the Mirror Road property, and I've heard rumblings that it's a done deal, whether it's dead in the water or whether it's actually been purchased. And so I just ask that if we are actually going to go ahead with a public meeting about it, that's because it's not a done deal yet. If it's a done deal, it's not worth our resources to go through with a public meeting about it. It is a done deal as far as it's not going to happen. I still think it's the best use of our resources. Thank you.
Thank you. I will go online. If you would like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand. Seeing none, I'll go back to the room. If you'd like to participate, just please come up and state your name and address.
Dennis Egan, 689 Tolland Stage Road. It's been a long time and I'm going to be gone again, so I thought I'd take the opportunity. I'd like to second that comment, I guess, first of all. Secondly, I'd like to make a comment about the disabilities. I had to look up because I wasn't certain of the difference between disabilities and special needs. So I wanted to make sure I used the right term as I was speaking. Definitely in support. As some of you may know, I have substitute taught at the high school for a period of time. And it's amazing how much to that whole environment and culture that children with disabilities bring to the high school. And basically, it really, I find it grounds other students. Also, when I was living in New Jersey, I did confirmation groups 4 years in a row. In the first year, I had an individual candidate with disabilities in my first group. And she so grounded that group and allowed them to be them as opposed to how they pretend to be every other day. So they do a wonderful job in the community, and they do a wonderful job, especially in schools. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go back online. If you'd like to participate, please raise your Zoom hand. Seeing none, I'll go back to the room. I'll go back on line one final time. If you'd like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand. Seeing none, I'll go back to the room one final time. Okay, thank you. Seeing none, I will close public petitions, communications, and public participation, which brings us to public hearing items, of which we have none. So reports of boards and committees responsible to the council. Councilor Beebe, anything on Firehouse Subcommittee?
We are due to have a meeting this month, and there's nothing else to report.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything else to report right now.
No, I have something though. Just Director Lappin and I toured the fire stations and then went to the roof to look at that, and then some of the masonry stuff at 440, the roof and masonry at 440, and then potential water damage at 340 as we prepared to do those repairs there, and the water is still coming in. Roof is great. The water's still coming in at 340 though.
Is that from the pitch of the?
Parking lot, correct? Yep. Not a lot of water, but it should not be like that. So we're working to repair it, and it didn't get worse. We would wonder if there was any frost heaves or anything. Just going to look at it, but we had to repair it.
Yeah, so we'll have more information after the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Brian, anything on contaminated wells or any other things I'm forgetting?
So Egypt. So contaminated wells, we're moving forward with the state with the grant funding for the vineyards area. That's status quo, nothing's changed. But we're pleased to have the opportunity to get that funding. With the Egypt, it does look like, and I thank Dr. Bullitt for all his work with the Egypt that he has done in the past. I know it's been a huge lift and a success story financially for the town, but it is likely dissolving, and we are likely moving to state insurance for our town employees. There is a process, obviously, that we would follow in notification to employees, in comparative services from previous insurance to this insurance. There's a lot of steps, and we are in the beginning stages of it, but it'll move relatively quickly. But we have regular meetings. Had one this week, and looking at different prices and such, and keep in mind that there's some hefty union contracts that'll be involved in that, to teachers being the biggest one, Teamsters, and then the fire not far behind them, that we'd have to negotiate that through, or at least show that it's the same type of insurance company or better, or insurance benefits are better.
Do you know when we need to have that sort of?
July 1, I
July.
believe. Yep. And we're fine to get that done.
Yep. And do we have if I'm remembering right, like an insurance consultant or someone that sort
We
of?
do, Seth, and he's looking at different prices. We could, as a town, leaving the teachers and that side, go off on our own. You get one bad medical problem for one person, and some of the towns have had that problem, gambling, being self-insured. And I'm not much of a riverboat gambler when it comes to this stuff, and you could get really hurt. So I did reach out to the town of Ellington, who has the state plan, similar to the ones that we would jump on. And the town manager said they love it. So that was good to hear, because I had heard negative, and he was very forthright about it.
Good. And I know, just to follow up, in terms of like self-insuring, just like the municipal employees, right? The problem with that is it's a relatively small group, right? So that's why one catastrophic illness would, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so
Sure.
is there any thought of the Board of Ed and the town considering self-insuring together versus just the town?
That was basically what eChip was, and it's the same thing, the same scenario where one of us, if one person.
Okay, so even as the larger group,
Yes.
inclusive of the Board of Ed. Oh, I thought you were talking about just the town employees.
We did look at that with Cigna, just to see what the numbers are, like going through Cigna, the same, Cigna's who we have now. No savings, but absolutely not. And then, and a lot of towns do try to do this. They take a gamble for 2 years or 3 years and try to do it and are fine. We'd rather let's just jump over to the state. But the teacher's contract is significant. So this is really Walt's big decision.
Right. So, but everybody is staying status quo until the end of June.
Everyone's
this
fine, yes, and we'll
fiscal year.
communicate all of that to HR has those processes, and both on BOE and our side.
Okay.
And just in terms of process, does that come back to us or anything in terms of like approving?
Oh,
or
yes.
is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Great, thank you. Item 7B, reports of town council liaisons. I'll just run through the room if anyone has any updates.
I had one more.
Oh, sure.
CROG.
I should have asked you.
I'm sorry. I had a one-on-one meeting with Matt Hart from CROG regarding Merrill Road issue. I told him how the state has assured us they're going to do some studies based on impacts, studies based on escapes and crime, and studies based on the ambulance, all the impacts to all the town services essentially, and funding. We don't know when the state is going to do that, but he wants to work on legislation so this type of thing doesn't happen moving forward. He's going to connect with our state reps and look to get that done.
Great. What was the first thing you talked about? Oh, contaminated wells. Sorry. Now that you're talking, I thought more about that. So the council had worked with our state delegation to submit, a request for additional funding. Have we heard any? No, we haven't heard any more about that. Okay. Okay, thank you.
What is the timetable, which we're expecting to hear back on that? Do we
No
have an idea? Oh,
That's okay. So reports of council liaisons. Councilor Beebe, do you have any?
Planning and zoning met last night. I'll let Dave give you the complete details, but the biggest thing on the agenda was HB 8002. There was a lot of discussion, a really great spreadsheet that had been prepared as far as the options that would be under the current legislation that would be available to towns to either do their own study, housing study, or to go with the CROG housing study. It's a long road yet, and there's a very tight timeline. And I think Dave will emphasize that it's a very, very tight timeline. So there were some other agenda items, disposition of town and property, but this was the biggie. Did I miss anything?
Understanding that Dave may speak more to it. What is the proposed legislation? What's it proposing to do?
So the proposals, there's a lot in the proposed legislation. I actually did a section breakdown and did the whole bill. However, it basically completely turns over and revamps the kind of affordability studies that we were doing before. So like we had spent a bunch of time doing affordable housing kind of stuff. This kind of, thank you very much for your effort, but now here's what we're going to do. And the packet that was provided to planning and zoning last night is online, and it has a really good summary and it has a really good spreadsheet. And Dave did a very, very good job of explaining it. If anybody wants to watch the video on it, there was some really good back and forth, and Dave did a great job explaining the guts of it. So there are other items in that bill, and some of them are peripheral, and don't necessarily, there were some other items like, oh, by the way, we're throwing this in too, but that was the big one.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other boards or commissions?
I attended the Commission on Persons with Disabilities, and they're still doing some great work. They had an attorney come in and talk about representation and trusts. There's a lot of really good stuff on their website also.
Great.
So thank you.
Thank you. Is there else?
From a report, I unfortunately had a conflict for EDC last Wednesday, so I was not available to attend.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Bischoff?
I have not, I just have the conservation committee that's coming up this week. So.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Jackson?
The Agricultural Commission, the farmers market is starting up soon, so there's lots of preparation going on for that. They are looking for volunteers, so there will be a flyer posted to the Tolland Agricultural Commission Facebook page. So if anybody wants to volunteer, watch their Facebook page for information. And that's it.
Awesome. Do you happen to know off the top of your head when it starts up again?
I don't.
Oh, that's fine.
I think it's May, but
Okay,
I'm not
that sounds-
100% sure.
Yeah.
May 5th.
Sherry might be able to tell us.
Oh, May 5th. Thank you. Councilor Barrett?
Yeah, nothing. This Board of Ed didn't meet since last time we were here.
Got it. Thank you. I'll note that the Tolland Water Pollution Control Authority had a special meeting about an hour and a half ago. The purpose of the meeting was to align town code with statute. The change dealt with delinquent charges for sewer. So it was just aligning, I guess, current practices and what state we're currently following state statute, but we're just bringing some of the Water Pollution Control Authority's regulations in alignment with what they're doing and what the state statute requires. So it was a pretty quick meeting. And then the Historic District Commission canceled its March meeting. So that's all I have as well. So that brings us to new business.
Can I make a point of order? Can I make a motion to add a new business item for discussion?
Sure.
Since we have had a couple of people that had talked to us about 303 Merrill Road, and thank you, Brian, for speaking with CROG about Merrill Road. I'd like to add an item 8.5 to discuss the 303 Merrill Road meeting and possible inputs to it.
Second it.
Okay, so motion by Counselor Beebe, seconded by Counselor DeBarrick. Is there any discussion?
Details.
I'll do a roll call vote for this. Counselor Beebe.
Aye.
Counselor Wells.
Aye.
Counselor Biswas, sorry.
Aye.
My brain is like short circuited. Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor DeBarrick.
Aye.
And I abstain from that just because of my recusal from that topic. So that passes. So that will be added as 8.5,
Thank you.
the last item of new business. So thank you. So that brings us to agenda item 8.1, appointment of a member to the town council. Brian, anything? Yep.
On March 5th of 2026, the town of Tolland received wedding signature resignation from councilperson Joe Shea. We thank him for his service. And on that same day, we received from Lisa Burns, the chair of the Tolland Republican Town Committee, a recommendation to appoint David Marshall and Joe Shea's vacancy. And that comes to council for, again, we need I believe it's 4 votes for that. Yes.
Thank you. So I'll just note, obviously, as the town manager mentioned, since our last meeting, Councilor Shea did resign from the council. And so consistent with town charter and past practice, the RTC has endorsed a candidate to fill former Councilor Shea's vacancy. I'll just reiterate what I said not very long ago, given that we've had some turnover. The council has a charter mandated obligation to fill a vacancy as expeditiously as possible. The candidate before us tonight meets the qualifications and that he's registered to vote in town. He's been endorsed by the RTC. And I'll just say for my part, I look forward to working with Mr. Marshall in a bipartisan collaborative manner. So with that, I would entertain a motion to appoint Dave Marshall to the town council to fill Councilor Shea's vacancy.
So moved. Second.
I'll just go with Councilor DeBarrick since I was looking at
Sorry
her.
about that.
And Councilor Biswas made the motion. Is there any discussion?
Yep.
Okay. I guess all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Mr. Marshall. And we do have the clerk here tonight
Yes.
to swear you in if you'd like to be sworn in, and you can take your seat. Sure. Awesome, thank you.
If you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, as well as the Charter and ordinances of the town of Tolland, and to faithfully discharge your duties as a member of the Tolland Town Council to the best of your abilities to help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm just going to hand you this. This is your card for your wallet. And this is the disclosure form. I just need you to fill that out and either return it to you or you can get to sign it.
Okay.
All right?
Congratulations. So that brings us to item 8.2, consideration and action on suspense tax for town acquired property on South River Road. Ryan?
Great, thanks. As you know, we've been trying to clean up some of our properties around town and also clean up some of the tax issues with some of those properties. You're gonna see 2 tonight, 2 things on the agenda, 8.2 and 8.3, both around South River Road. Dave Corcoran's here to explain more of what's going on with this.
And I'll turn this one over to Aaron since this is
Yep.
the tax suspense. She knows far more about that than I do.
Good evening.
Thanks, Aaron.
I'm requesting that the delinquent taxes on the parcel of land on South River Road, which was acquired by the town of Tolland through the process of the tax sale, be put into suspense and be lawfully uncollectible. The balance that would be put into suspense is $16,808.93. I request this as the tax sale was the last option in our efforts to collect the delinquent taxes on the parcel. As the town now owns the land going forward, it will be exempt from any further taxation.
Thank you, Aaron. I know we've had this before in a prior term, but can you is there any effort, does this go to like our collection attorney or anything like to try to continue, or is it over at this point?
It's deemed uncollectible at this point.
Okay.
We've exhausted all efforts.
Okay,
That includes what you said.
okay. So it already went, we had an attorney, went to collections, we tried to collect
It
it.
went to tax sale and
Got it.
that's how the town acquired it.
Okay. And is this the same property as what's 8.3? Or is this a separate property?
It's the same property.
It's the same property, okay. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but what's the town's, so the town now owns the property, correct? What's the town's like intended plan for the property?
Yeah, so going back to last August when we had the tax sale, the town council voted to, what happened at the tax sale was we had a few bidders who showed up. We've never been to a tax sale. It's a fascinating endeavor where it quickly kind of got out of control. We had several bidders bidding on this property who had no idea what they were bidding on. At that point, the successful bidder came into my office and said, well, how do I get to this landlocked property? And the answer to that is that you don't, there's no access to it. So that person had to forfeit their deposit. At that point in time, we kind of met as the town. We reached out to at least one abutter and determined that there was interest in acquiring the property if the town were to acquire it with the intent of immediately putting it up for sale to abutters. So the next item on your agenda is to declare this as surplus so that we can reach out to the abutting property owners and solicit bids to have them buy it, which would place it back in the tax roll.
Okay. And so just to reiterate, so this is a landlocked parcel, right? So there's no obviously there's no access to it unless you own one of the abutting properties. And so the process, do we have like a statutory or like town process that we follow in terms of like you notify all the abutters, things of that nature?
Exactly. So what we'll do if you vote to declare it as surplus, the first step in the process is you all in planning and zoning have to declare the property as surplus. Planning and zoning did it last night. You'll have the opportunity tonight. Once that happens, that's when the abutter notification happens. So we'll send mailers to all the abutting property owners. We'll give them 30 days or so to provide a bid back. And then at that time, the town manager can make a recommendation to you as to which bid we accept. And we can, it will then go to public hearing for you to actually dispose of the property.
Okay. Thank you.
So much of this work is just stagnated here in the town, and I thank Dave and Aaron for all their efforts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Starting to clean this up, and you're going to see it going over the next year and a half.
Yeah, no, very much appreciate that. I know it's been kind of an ongoing effort we've had since even the last couple of years trying to get sort of these properties back onto the roll. So thank you for that. Other questions from the council? Yes.
This might be slightly jumping ahead, but it says that it was 16,808.93 that was delinquent taxes, but the next thing says it was put up for sale for 35,000 in back taxes. So I confused as to which that is.
Yep, so that has to do with the, where our numbers are a little bit different because the 16 is, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, what is actually owed in back taxes. 35 was once you added in interest and fees on top of it, it ballooned up to the 35.
Okay.
Yep.
Other questions? If there are no other questions, I would entertain a motion to adopt the, is it a resolution 8.2 or what?
Yes, there's a draft resolution attached.
Okay. There it is. So I would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution outlined in our packet as agenda item 8.2 to declare this property to approve the suspense list listed in the amount of 16,808.93. So moved by Councilor Wells. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Bissaw. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Thank you. So I know we started talking about this a little bit, but now we're on 8.3, which is a consideration of a resolution to declare the property that we just were discussing on South River Road as surplus.
So, as Dave said, it's about 35,000 this town has to put into, not just in taxes and everything else. The likelihood of someone actually bidding that price for it is very, very slim. So we'll offer it to the butters at a lower rate. And then hopefully it'll be on on our books, on our tax books, moving forward from there. This is the second step in that process. Dave, am I missing anything?
Nope, I think we've covered both.
Can you remind me, I know I read this somewhere, how big is the parcel? 8 acres.
It is. It's around 8 acres.
Okay, yeah, no, that's it. Thank you. Questions from council?
Is there anybody that owns 27 or 17?
So those are town-owned property that we accepted as subdivision open space. They're largely wet and undevelopable, and because we accepted them in good faith as subdivision open space, we can't really turn around and sell them or develop them, so.
That's the law or the rule that we've come up for the town a long time ago when a developer comes in, 20% of the land has to be set aside as open space and not developed. If I'm getting that correct.
This is just a question, but could you give some access through 27, like an easement, so someone else could get to parcel 18, or no, that's not allowed?
It would be challenging to do so, both from a legal, we already said we would make it's permanent open space, so access is challenging, and then from an engineering standpoint, it's largely wet, so it'd be very expensive to do it, even if it was possible.
Just, yeah, okay, thank you.
So I guess, has there been any indication of prior interest from the properties that do abut this, right? Has there been any dialogue at all?
Yes.
There hasn't? Thank you.
Do you remember when it was the tag sale, how much people offered to buy that?
So they offered the full amount,
And what was that?
the 35,000.
And a deposit.
I think it even came up from there, it got up into the 50s and 60s. It turned into a bidding war with people bidding on property they'd never seen.
And they had to put a deposit down.
And they had to put an non-refundable. The tax attorney very clearly outlined that you should not do that, but people started doing it anyway, so.
Thank you. Well, at least we got the deposit in.
It's true.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution as outlined in agenda item 8.3 to declare the property on South River Road as surplus. So moved by Councilor Wells. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Beebe. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. That brings us to item 8.4, appointments to vacancies on various municipal boards and commissions. We have none tonight. I'll just reiterate that the town always has lists that any vacancies that we have, and obviously we appreciate any residents who step forward and volunteer their time. We have tons of residents who do that, but if anyone's interested, certainly reach out to the council. We would love to have you. So that brings us to the.
Chris, actually, can I ask a question?
Sure.
To Brian, do we advertise those anywhere, or how do we advertise those?
The vacancies
Yeah.
on boards and commissions, they're on our website, I believe, correct?
So there is in the news and notices on the front page of the website, if you read down, there's an advertisement for them. If people are interested, they can call our office and get a list of what they actually are. They're all different terms, they're all different, types of volunteer opportunities. So it's difficult to put that all on the website, but certainly we can provide it if one is interested.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to, we had added item 8.5, which is discussion of 303 Narrow Road.
Meeting for.
Sorry. Discussion regarding the meeting regarding 303 Narrow Road. Thank you. Sorry. So again, just given that recuse from that, I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to the council. Thanks.
Okay. All right, so I am gonna go ahead and ask Councilor Beebe if she wants to expound a little bit on some of the discussion
thank you.
points.
So we have been talking about this for a while now. And with the idea that we were going to have that we were gonna have a public meeting, that was actually advertised for the 3rd of March, which unfortunately we didn't have a forum for because of extenuating circumstances where a bunch of us weren't available. So, thank you, to the folks that spoke up tonight. It's obviously still on people's minds. We are currently scheduled, I think, for the 16th, but one of the things that we had talked about doing was trying to get additional input from state representatives, from state members of the administration, and as well as information statistical information from existing sites for items that are kind of knowable for us. And right now we don't have that information, so I want to make sure that this board can discuss how we want to proceed. This was mentioned actually during our last meeting. I think our citizens have the right and they deserve the respect and the opportunity to be able to address and question the members of the state administration that are responsible for the decisions on 303 Merrill Road and who may be able to provide important facts to the public. This was done this exact same thing was done by the Connecticut State Police during the street takeover. They stood in front of us in the school and they faced down the public and they did a good job of it. And I think the same thing needs to happen here. The public has some serious issues, which I agree with. So given that, I would like to try to redouble the effort to get a representative from the Judicial Division. CROG, since Town Manager has spoken, the CROG may be a great addition here to identify what kind of studies they might be able to help us with in the event that they need to. OPM, which plays an administrative role, I'm not sure that would be a lot of information, and if possible, representative from the governor's office. In addition, the other things that we had talked about getting were statistics on things like escapes, walkaways. Does that actually happen? If so, how many? There are other facilities in the state. We can know these things. A demand on public services like local police or Connecticut State Police, an emergency medical, or fire. Anything else that the administration would feel or public safety officials would feel would be important. And then we have had some public letters since then, and the experience of a local business person who was trying to sell a property on 195, and I think that comes to bear also. So I want to get, I guess, first take the temperature of the commission or the council as to proceeding with this request, and then seeing if we can, with time short, right? We talked about this going back to February 26th, which was my first request for this. Again, on March 5th, to date, it still hasn't happened. And does the council agree that we should still try to pursue this? And if we can send out an email and they say no, that is what it is, or at least we tried. And if we can't, do we want to continue with this meeting, or do we want to reschedule, or do we want to have another meeting after this? So I guess I wanted to put it out for discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so anybody wanna?
Sure. So the first thing I guess I would throw out there is the residents, right? Whether you talk to people you know, your neighbors, in the community where we all interact, or social media, right? So I think the residents have a lot of answers. A lot of questions that there are answers to. But I think the most important thing is feedback from the residents, right? I think the meeting should happen on the 16th, regardless, because the residents need an opportunity to speak to us. I mean, they've had opportunities to come here, but if there's a specific reason for a specific agenda item with a larger venue, I think it'll attract people to come. I know there's been some questions why it was canceled and when's the next one. So that's my main concern right now, is hearing from the residents and as an aggregate to really understand what the vibe in the town is. I know I have what my personal views are of this. I'm kind of upset on how this all went down and how it was very secretive. So of course, some representatives from the governor's office would be amazing. OPM, judicial would be great, right? I mean, if we could get these people there to ask them the what, when, where, why, and how, I think that would be beneficial to the town. It would be beneficial to decision making. But ultimately, this meeting, I think, should happen on the 16th. I think we should afford the residents an opportunity to speak to us, to give us a directive of what they want. We can get a temperature of the town in the room, not just from Facebook, not just from email. A lot of people, right, they communicate in different ways. So those are my thoughts out of the gate, talking about this. So I'll let somebody else speak. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way, and based on conversations with folks too, is that if they have questions, they want to ask the right people those questions. And if we don't provide them with the folks that are necessary to provide those answers, then I think we're going to frustrate our public more than help them. And I think we need to know, I mean, now we hear there could be dead in the water or it's a done deal. I think it seems like there's just so much ambiguity on one level, but not on another, that if we don't have the people at the table that need to answer to our residents, to answer to our town manager and our council and everyone here, that it's not a fair representation. It's not a fair meeting, I think. It's not a fair meeting because I don't think it represents what the community really wants out of that meeting.
I agree. She said it all. No, I 100% agree. I think that having somebody there to answer the town's questions is definitely something that people that I've spoken to, they have questions and they like answers, and I don't have any.
So, Counselor,
I think
Marshall, if you
that
want
the biggest issue is getting the right person here who knows the most about it. Are we gonna? Probably not. But it's worth a shot. It's definitely worth a shot. So
Right, as long as we try, like Brett said, if we get a no back, at least we tried. At least we can say we reached out to these people and they still denied us, but at least we tried.
okay. My understanding was we were gonna have our state representatives there who have talked to these people. So worst case scenario, if we wanna pursue having state representatives come, if that's the temperature of the council, then, we can go in that direction. I agree with Councilor Wells that regardless of that, we should go forward with the meeting with the people that we can have. We can certainly get feedback from our state representatives and even our town manager who was at a meeting with these exact people in terms of what was said and where things stand. But if that's the direction we want to go, we've got a few days where we can maybe reach out and get that, see what we can. So
So I guess it seems like we have a consensus, right, that we want to make the effort, and if the answer is no, the answer is no. So can we please, in writing, request attendance from the judicial branch, OPM, and the governor's representative? And if they say no, they say no.
That's what you want, I'm happy to do this. You tell me who.
That's what I told you I wanted on the 26th of February.
I understand that, but I needed to hear it from the vice chair.
Vice chair was on the email. She didn't object. So
We can agree to disagree on the format there. I was not given, she didn't say do it either. I apologize, we're trying as best we can here to not get in. You guys tell me who to ask, I'll ask.
thank you.
okay, so
All right.
we're in agreement and we can talk about that a little bit further. But if that's it, we call the chair back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the report of the town manager.
Skipping old business, but that's all right. Like there wasn't new business. Sneak attack. All right, so I want to call everyone's attention to Crandall's Park and the main lower parking lot that runs right along Cider Mill. There's a half dozen or so large concrete round planters there that a volunteer in our town, Anna Turner, for years and years has out of pocket volunteered to put the plants in there, maintain them, water them. Some assistance from DPW with getting her to water when she needs them down there. She's done this forever and she's just decided to basically retire from that. We thank her so much for the work that she's done. And we would love to have another volunteer take over these planter boxes. When we look to do these community gardens that you're starting to see some discussion on and that we, the town, want to help facilitate, and we've identified a couple of possible locations for them. I'll see if we can't, get some sort of one hand washes the other type of agreement, get someone to maybe do these planters. It's not a must. have, but we, those, she always had something great growing in those things, and she did it out of her own pocket. So, something that we're working on. Our assistant finance director, Chris Jordan, who's come here, in front of the council on a few occasions, has resigned after 9 years with the town. We thank him for his service. That job has been posted. We've hired a admin for the resident state trooper's office. She'll be starting in the middle of this month. If you look on page 3 of the town manager's report, you'll see the change that I mentioned last year, not significant in our budget or anything, but it is a change that we wanted to be transparent about involving the capital plan. And that was at the request of Dr. Willett to move it there, and it was to basically keep the amount of time that the track and turf field are closed to a minimum at his and his staff's suggestion. So we were happy to do that. It is technically a change, not a big financial change, but it is a change to the plan. So we wanted to be obviously transparent with that. As famously discussed just now, there is a meeting 6 p.m. On the 16th of March at Tolland Middle School. Please understand that the technology is not ours. It is limited. And it is after Dr. Willett's recommendation, there is not really an ability to have back and forth online. So we encourage people that want to speak to please show up in person. We don't have one of those big rooms in our town with the big tables and like some cities have for these types of venues. So we do the best that we can with what we have. And I know that it's a pain for Dr. Willett. So I appreciate, again, him and everything he's done for this. Our Human Services Department is sending 3 members to a training, and as you may have seen in the news, there's been some violence to people who visit homes, different healthcare workers and such. This is training provided to them in regards to their safety when going out into the home. So I appreciate them going to that. Staying in human services, they have announced that Tolland Youth Theater this summer is going to be a production of The Wizard of Oz. This has been such a great program for our town on so many levels, but at the main level would be just 100+ kids that put this production together all summer. A lot of volunteers that come help. If you get a chance, go see the play. It's just so wonderful. And council, if you ever want to stop in and watch them rehearse and prepare for it, it's also very fulfilling to watch and see that everything that's going on there. Our rec center had a sewer type of plumbing issue. It needed some cleanup and repair. That is ongoing. I thank Ryan for moving the Tolland Tykes program. And when you move a program from one room to another, there's all sorts of state approvals and health approvals that you have to do. He did all of those. Minimal interruption. I think they might have missed one day through that while the repairs are being made. So I thank them for that, and DPW for everything they've done. And sticking with DPW, it's been an extraordinary winter, an extraordinary amount of moisture onto our roads, and the plows have been banging around on those things for the past several months, more than almost they ever have. That has created some significant potholes and cracks. They are working as best they can to repair those. Obviously, they do it by priority. The busier roads get the attention first. With the weather breaking, obviously everyone's basically been out there trying to patch up the roadway. So I thank the town for their patience in getting that done. But Tolland is in the exact same situation as the 162 other towns here in our state with that type of problem. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Can I say something? I actually just wanted to shout out to your rec department, Ryan, Deneen, the basketball rec program just finished up. The high school, he had for the championship game, he had music, he had lights, strobe lights. He announced it. It was really quite special. So,
you're right. He really did do a good job, and he promoted it as well
did.
and everything. And
he ran a food drive as well.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Questions for the town manager?
I just want to give a shout out to we have the Wizard of Oz, which is awesome. I mean, you're right, that theater program is absolutely first class.
And
The Tolland High School theater is also doing Phantom of the Opera next week.
This weekend.
Yes, this
coming weekend. So the 14th.
Yes,
Yeah,
13th,
14th.
12th, 13th, and 14th. Yes,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, so go see the Phantom of the Opera and the Wizard of Oz.
I got one question for Brian. Is there been any more communication with Stafford, with Bill on
Oh, thank you.
the shared services? Has there been any
Yes.
update on that?
I wrote that on my list.
Because there has been a lot of chatter in town.
I did have it on
It's
my
gotten
list.
out there. So I mean, there's a lot of residents now
Yeah.
that are
I
jumping.
believe I'd mentioned it before. I'll kind of bring everyone up to speed with our new members. For years, since I've been here, there's been talk about Stafford, to some degree, wants us to share their transfer station. Basically, let's just say hypothetically, you have a couch, you want to throw it out. And instead of calling Casella and making an appointment for them to come grab it and chuck it, you could do it that day and just run it up to Stafford and pay a fee. Different than the residents likely because the town supports that up in Stafford. So that is it conceptually. It's not everyday trash. We'll work through all that. They're having a town meeting, likely myself and Director Lappin, depending on when it is. We'll attend that meeting together and explain exactly that. We're not looking to take the dump over. We're not looking to put our trash there. We're just looking for an additional service for our residents to have an option, to rip the deck off your house on a Saturday.
Transfer station, have access to their transfer station. To be able to load up the pickup and go.
And we're not looking to make money on this or anything like that. We're just looking just to have that service available to our residents.
And you'll be attending a Stafford town meeting, just to reiterate that.
Sure.
That was-
Yeah, and we have an invitation. I saw something on it.
You're meeting with him
Yes,
and then they're doing a public hearing.
yes.
Thank you.
But I'll attend as well.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Brian.
Other questions? Thank you. Actually, just one. Again, I'll reiterate, thanks to DPW. It's been a long winter for everyone and them most of all. Again, because of the timing of these storms, have always been, on a weekend at night kind of thing. Are we worried at all about overtime type stuff?
We're worried about it to council. No, we had a contingency. I think we got through all of that, but we also had some surplus in DPW, some savings that we have not had to come to you yet.
Okay.
For that. It's really close though. I mean, it is really close. We're hoping that we don't get hit hard again.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to item 11, adoption of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. I'm just gonna break them out one at a time. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the February 19, 2026 joint town council board of education meeting minutes. So moved. Moved by Councilor Wells. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor DeBerek. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting those minutes, say aye. Aye. Okay, the next is the February 24th, 2026 special meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion to adopt those minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Beebe. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Bisott. Is there any discussion? I'm gonna do a roll call just because I'm gonna abstain from these minutes. Councilor Marshall.
Aye.
Councilor Beebe.
Aye.
Councilor Wells.
Aye.
Councilor Bisott.
Aye.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Councilor DeBerek.
Aye.
And I abstain. So those minutes are adopted. And so finally, the February 24th, 2026 regular meeting minutes, I'll entertain a motion to adopt those minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Beebe. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor DeBerek. Any discussion? All in favor of adopting those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
So that's unanimous. Those are adopted. Thank you. That brings us to item 12, correspondence to council. Councilor DeBerek.
Yes, good evening. So this is the correspondence since our last meeting. We had 2 emails on the ICE enforcement policies in Tolland. We had one on Merrill Road requesting representation from the programs that run similar facilities to be present at our town meeting. We had 2 regarding a town council member, one with voter registration information, one with an FOIA request. We had 1 email concerning House Bill 5468, which is an act concerning the provision of equivalent instruction causing unfunded mandates to our schools. There was one that came in regarding a request to consider improvements to Charter Road. We had an email requesting regarding public safety issues in regards to a private shooting range. We had an email in support of Dave Marshall's appointment. And we also had an email looking for information on the South River Road property. And then two emails in regards to supporting monarch butterfly preservation. And that was it.
You had a lot of female correspondence, so thank you for keeping track of all of that. Appreciate that. So that brings us to the chairperson's report. I'll just reiterate what Councilor Beebe brought up earlier. This weekend is the Tolland High School play, Phantom of the Opera. The 12th through the 14th, I think, are the dates. There's a big banner out in front of Town Hall. Definitely encourage residents to go out and see that. They always do a fantastic job. I want to welcome Councilor Marshall. Looking forward to working with you. The only other thing I want to mention, so obviously we'll be, in the coming weeks, we'll be gearing up for budget discussions. So I just want to take this opportunity before we get too deep into that to just remind, all of us and, the public to remain respectful of each other. We might disagree on, what the bottom line should be, but I think I've said it before, I really believe that all of us are here for the right reasons and want to do to improve our community, right? And so we can disagree about how to do that, but we're all coming from the right place of wanting to improve the community. So just something to be mindful of. And that is all that I have. Communications and petitions from councilpersons. Anyone have anything they want to raise?
I have just a couple things on the Charter Road issue. Can we? I know we probably have to discuss this in terms of like budget, capital improvements and things, but at some point, can we get additional input from Public Works on that?
Yes, it has come up many times. And we've provided before. We're happy to provide it again.
Thank you.
In a
There's a lot of new people here too.
Correct. Yeah, no, happy to do that again. It's expensive. It's not a matter of just bread and butter on top of the road and putting the pavement down. There's drainage and environmental engineering that has to go on with it, and that's anywhere in Tolland is expensive because of the rock. And if you look at Charter Road, it's going to be a good chunk of change. But I'm happy that if we could put that on, you want to put that as an agenda item, or you want me just to put it in a town manager's report, I'm happy to.
I think we need to understand the magnitude of the cost.
Yeah. Well, it'd be an estimate,
Understood.
per mile, what this type of thing costs.
I know we talked about this again last year or last budget, and I know prices are going to jump around, and especially now the price of hot mix asphalt, with the price of oil over like $100 a barrel. The price of paving is going to can't even tell you where that's going to land.
I'm happy to talk about that and have Scott come in. Keep in mind that Josephine Way is being populated.
Yeah.
And that is on the end of the South Kent Road, unimproved dirt road as well. And so that their traffic is going to double, and we are likely to start hearing requests for that as well.
Okay. So thank you for that. And then
Can I just provide just real quick, just context for people listening in? We received email correspondence requesting, and we have before, right, requesting paving of Charter Road, which isn't currently paved. So
I would love to have no dirt roads here in town. We need to box them out every spring. You should see them now.
Yeah.
What they're doing while we're in the neighborhood, we're putting down rock right now, basically, for lack of a better term, trap rock, because if we put down the process, it'll just turn into soup.
Mm-hmm.
So while it dries out, we have the rock. It actually works out well because that rock will get pounded in and serve as the base to do it. I would love to come up with some sort of plan long-term to start paving all those roads, providing the residents who live on those roads want them paved, which we might see opposition to as well. Certainly not on Charter, but in other places. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you. And I think just having, as Councilor Beebe mentioned, just a rough estimate of sort of like what that would cost, just so we understand. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then thank you for the proclamation on persons with disabilities for this month. And that just is it induces me to say, I really, really would like to see a final solution. And I know you would too, and everybody sitting here would too, to more accessibility for our town green. And hopefully we can resolve that before all of us throw the earths and are no longer with us.
If I could add, oddly enough, today, while working to do the basketball courts up at Herring Cove, We found a sidewalk buried. Yeah. We found a sidewalk buried in Herring Cove. We exposed it. We ended up learning that there used to be a house there and that sidewalk was a part of the house. We are going to keep it and make it an ADA picnic area there as well. So we'll be looking to do that. Again, improving lemon to lemonade.
Yes.
You know, you can imagine what I said when I saw a sidewalk buried. So
It's a sign. It's a sign.
it's a sign. Yeah.
Thank you. Let it be a sign.
Yes, yeah, thank you, that's great, that's a great idea, thank you. Other questions for the town manager? Or sorry, no, we're not on that. Sorry. Any
Take
other
it.
correspondence from council, sorry, or communications from council?
Sure. So first of all, just want to thank the town for all the hard work. Been an arduous winter to say the least, you know, between the roads and with everything going on, emergency services. Chief Lifetel's been awesome, right, with all the updates and the storms, and we've had historic weather. But more importantly, one of the proclamations was Women's History Month. So Sarah Beth, and to your team and every other woman that serves this town, thank you. It means a lot. I advocate for it in my personal life. I'm married to a women construction worker, so you can imagine what that does. So very important thing in my world. So to see this and the town doing this is huge. So to all the women out there grinding it and making this country move, every progressive moment that this country's ever seen has been on the backbone of a woman, without a doubt. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, so that brings us to agenda item 15, which is public listed participation on any subject within the jurisdiction of the council with a 2-minute limit. And just a reminder, just state your name and your address when you come up. So I'll start in the room. If you'd like to speak, just come up. Seeing none, I'll go online. If you'd like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand. Seeing none, I'll go back to the room.
Hi, Lisa Burns, 214 Slater Road. I just want to thank you all for coming together and endorsing Dave, and congratulations, Dave. One of the things that I remember the town council talking about a couple of years ago, more than that, is that there is a stone wall off of 74 where the post office is. And it was my understanding many years ago that that can cause a hazard because the stones would kind of slip and go out into the road, especially during the plowing season. I'd like to open that back up and ask that we try to review that and see if we can do something there to make it a little bit more safe. I understand it is a state road. I'm bringing this up because we have somebody who might be able to help us with that moving forward. And I think this is a great opportunity to see if we can make that a little safer.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
Thank
Absolutely, yeah. Brian, maybe we can make a note to have this on like an agenda, just a discussion item to start at an upcoming council meeting.
Let me research it.
Sure.
I don't know much about it. I've heard it here and there.
Yep. We just, look into it, then we can just have sort of preliminary discussion about kind of where we want to go. I'll go online. If you'd like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand. Seeing none, I'll go back to the room. Last call for online. If you'd like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand. Seeing none, last call for in the room. Okay, seeing none, we'll close out public participation. Is there any objection to adjournment? Without objection, we are adjourned at 8:05 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.